Yo, what's good everybody? It's Mango Llamas here. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for daily content. I make a video every day and I post multiple shorts every day. So make sure you subscribe for that and make sure you like this video for that. And in today's Elden Ring video, we're going to be going over how to play as a generic knight on Elden Ring PvP. Now, being a generic knight, there's nothing wrong with that, alright? There's nothing wrong with being a generic knight, okay? That's why I'm making this video, because sometimes when you lack creativity on Elden Ring, when making your character or making your build, you just kind of want to say fuck it and just make a regular knight on Elden Ring PvP. Now, let's go over the basics on how to be a generic knight on Elden Ring PvP. First of all, being a generic knight on Elden Ring PvP or in Elden Ring in general, I think is actually pretty cool, you know, like, I think it's pretty dope. That's just for me, like, sometimes, like I said, if I just want to play as basic as possible while still having fun on Elden Ring, then yeah, just be a generic fucking knight. So we're gonna go over the basics on how to be a generic knight right here. Obviously, if you want to be a generic knight on Elden Ring PvP or on Elden Ring, you're gonna need a generic knight armor set. Now, there's actually a lot of generic knight armor sets, and it all just depends which one you want to rock, but they're all pretty much the same. If you're really trying to be the most generic knight as you possibly can, then I suggest y'all wear the knight armor set that you can get at the Round Table Hold. It's literally called the knight armor set, so what more could you want from that armor set? So in this video, I'm not wearing the knight armor set, but if you're wearing the knight armor set, then bruh, you are a generic knight on Elden Ring PvP. But I kind of wanted to add a bit of style on that bitch. I didn't want to just be a generic knight. So even though this video is on how to become a generic knight, so I added a bit of style to the generic knight, and I'm actually rocking the full Elden Knight armor set. Now, you get this armor set by killing the Elden Knights, you know, the yellow ones in the Elden capital. If you kill them, you can get their armor set the more you kill them. So that's what I'm rocking today. Alright, that's number one to becoming a generic knight on Elden Ring PvP, is you need a knight armor set. So we're rocking the Elden Knight armor set. Number two, to becoming not a Elden Knight, but a generic knight on Elden Ring PvP or on Elden Ring in general, what you're gonna need is a generic knight weapon. Now, this is very crucial to becoming a generic knight on Elden Ring, because you have to do this right. There are only two ways to do this with the weapon, okay? You can't do it any other way. So, what are some generic knight weapons? You have the greatsword, which is what I'm rocking today. Or you can go the classic sword and board setup, which, if you don't know what that means, that basically means broadsword and shield setup. So you either want to run those two, but today we're rocking the greatsword setup. And like I said, I didn't want to just be a generic knight, so I added a little bit of spice onto the generic knight. So my generic knight is, yeah, one, He's from Lendel, so he's a Lendel knight because I'm rocking the full Lendel armor set. And 2, I'm rocking the greatsword, the Banished Knight's greatsword. Now, I'll go over that in a little bit, but the Ash of War I have on it is Sacred Blade, so it kind of fits into the theme with the Lendel Knight. Even though the Lendel Knight has to do with lightning and shit, my Lendel Knight is a holy Lendel Knight, because he's yellow. So, my generic knight has got, you know, some holy theme going with him because he's got the Sacred Blade and he's yellow. So that's how I'm rocking my generic knight, but we're going to talk about the weapon on my generic knight. Now, I didn't go for the sword and board setup on my generic knight. I honestly think that setup's kind of hard to run because I don't really use shields on Elden Ring PvP. But you know what you can't go wrong with is a great sword. So I'm using the Banished Knight's great sword. There are actually a lot of great swords you can use, but if you want to be the best generic knight possible, you can't be running a special great sword, okay? You have to be running a basic great sword with an interchangeable Ash of War. So that means Banished Knight's greatsword or the Claymore. But there are so many other great swords on this game, just don't use any special ones because that doesn't count. That doesn't count as a generic knight. Like, for example, you can't use the Dark Moon greatsword on a generic knight build because a generic knight wouldn't have the Dark Moon greatsword because he's a generic knight. He would just have a regular greatsword. So that's what I'm rocking today, is just the Banished Knight's greatsword. Now, the Banished Knight's greatsword, I think, is actually a pretty rare drop. I don't know if it's a rare drop, but you have to farm some Banished Knights to get this sword. So that's what I got. I think I just got lucky, so I'm gonna go over the sword because this greatsword is actually particularly different than other greatswords on this game. Because there are a lot of great swords on this game, but this one is particularly special. It has the same qualities as the Knight's greatsword, which is another cool greatsword, but it has the same qualities as its light attack. Let me explain. So the Knight's greatsword on Elden Ring, it has this cool moveset with the light attack, and it's like kind of like a sweeping motion. So I think the Knight's greatsword and the Banished Knight's greatsword have that same quality. They have the same quality of light attack moveset. Like, it's the same thing. They have that same sweeping motion. Bro, I'm getting so jumbled talking about this shit, but just know that their light attack sweeping motion is what makes these two similar to each other. But I think it's better, you're better off using the Knight's greatsword, but I don't have the Knight's greatsword. I have the Banished Knight's greatsword, so I'm using that. Why this sweeping moveset is so good is because, one, it looks pretty damn cool, no cap. It looks pretty fucking cool. You can't even cap that shit looks cool. It's like sweeping. It like go. When you use it, it sweeps, but you go into like a fucking sword stance while you're doing it as you're sweeping. But this is good because you can actually pull off a true combo with this. Now, I don't know if you're going to see it in the gameplay. I kind of know how to do it, but you have to hit the jumping light attack and then do a sweeping light, which is just the regular light on the Banished Knight's greatsword or the Knight's greatsword, and it will be considered a true combo. So that's going to be it for the video. It's a pretty short video. hopefully you guys enjoyed on how to be a generic knight, because this playstyle I really like sometimes, and I know a bunch of y'all like it too because I see it a lot on Elden Ring PvP. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.